What a great day! The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and the 3DS eShop is still open with no end in sight. I think I'll check out Twitter for a little bit. Nothing that could ruin my day would ever be there. Well, it looks like my biggest fear has finally been realized. Not bees, not rats, not the crippling thought of inadequacy. The Nintendo 3DS eShop is closing. Yep, it was tweeted by Nintendo on February 15th, 2022 that it will no longer be possible to purchase games on the Wii U or 3DS eShops. And you might be wondering, well, what does this mean to me? It means you need to hurry up and buy every single game you can, or else there'll be no more Operation Cobra at the f***ing funeral! In all seriousness though, the closing of the eShops is a big deal. I mean, I spent probably 3% of my teenage years on the thing. There'll be a ton of games on the eShop that will be lost to time by the time it closes. So today, let's go over the ones that I think are the most worth it to have on your system when those orange virtual doors finally close. Well, speaking purely from a monetary standpoint, pretty much any Pokemon game you download is going to be a worthwhile investment. I mean, you slap the name Pokemon on anything and the price instantly triples. Come to think of it, I would consider downloading any games that have any of the big Nintendo IPs labels slapped on them if you're just looking to make a quick buck selling the system on eBay. Anything like Kirby Planet Robobot or WarioWare Gold would be smart options since they're good games with a high resale value that you can only play on the Nintendo 3DS. Heck, even Mini Mario's Amiibo challenge is worth something to somebody. Maybe. But I'm not really here to talk to the people who only care about the money aspect. I'm here to talk to people who care about preservation of the system's legacy. I'm here to talk to the people who bought Minecraft on 3DS just because they couldn't stand the thought of not having it. Why did they make this? Buying for preservation is going to be a little different than buying in terms of monetary value. For starters, I would personally recommend buying any eShop exclusives from bigger Nintendo IPs, like Kirby's Blowout Blast or Dr. Mario The Miracle Cure. Coming in at less than 20 bones, most of these games are a relatively inexpensive way to start your stockpile. What I'd suggest even more than these games, however, is to secure any indie games that you're going to want. Indie titles are often pretty cheap and some of them are pretty good. Also, these games are a lot more volatile than Nintendo's offerings, and there's no guarantee that they'll ever be seen again. Now, whether that's for better or for worse, I'll let you decide. But two titles that I would recommend for sure are Ice Station Z and Retro City Rampage DX. I've already made a video about Ice Station Z for the Switch, and you can check that out right here if you want. Pretty much any Game Boy game or GBA game from either eShop's virtual console should be on your list. I say these two consoles specifically because Nintendo currently has no plans to make these titles available on modern hardware. Why? Well, I guess Nintendo just hates things that make people happy. Some of the games that I'll be grabbing are Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, the Kirby games, and the Mario/Wario Land series. Really, any of the NES and SNES libraries would also be a good selection if you want a way to always be able to play them. But those are already available on the Switch, so I gotta recommend getting the Game Boy and GBA games first. You could also get some of the Game Gear library downloaded onto your system, but I have multiple questions and they're all why the hell would you do that? However, I'm gonna suggest prioritizing the eShop exclusives over the virtual consoles in general because even though it might not be ideal, there are already other ways to play these older games, which isn't the case for most of these exclusives. I have a list of specific games here that I don't know how to incorporate into the script, so I'm just going to go over them here. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. This is a fun little rhythm game that never saw a physical release, which is a shame because it has so much charm and personality. Definitely pick this one up. Flipnote Studio 3D. This is a free app that's available on the My Nintendo website and is the successor to the original Flipnote Studio on the DSi. It's a fun little animation app that's super easy to use and was actually how I started animating. Super fun and it's free, so why not pick it up? My Nintendo's Legend of Zelda Picross. It's just Picross, but it's Twilight Princess themed. If you have the points on My Nintendo, then it's free to download. It has nice music and it isn't bad for another freebie. Don't forget to install updates and buy any DLC for the games that you might want. I know it might seem like a no-brainer, but you can never be too careful. I hope you enjoyed this little buying guide for the final days of the eShop. However, please keep in mind that this isn't a definitive list and is purely my own opinion. I hope this helped some of you to decide what kind of games you'll want to buy in the future and maybe even inspired you to pick up your 3DS for the first time in a while and play for a bit. But for now, I think that instead of frantically scrambling to fill out my collection, I'll be spending these last couple of months learning to face my biggest fear. And I lied. It's not the 3DS becoming a relic of the past. It was bees the whole time!